What is going on, everybody? Today I have something that it's absolutely crushing with our sales team that I wanted to share with you guys. It just completely transformed our show up rate. It just created a whole different experience for our clients and the clients of our clients, which is AI confirmation bot. And basically what I'm showing you here, it's the exact tech stack and process that we're using right now that helped us increase our show up rates by 25% almost overnight. And when you increase your show up rates by 25%, guess what happens? You get more sales, right? So I want to show you exactly how to do it. I will show you all the workflows that we have, the setup that we have with the system. And basically the way it works is whenever there's a call scheduled, we want to wait for a specific period of time. I just put here in this example as a wait 10 minutes. And then the AI, it's going to call to confirm that the person is going to show up for their appointment. Basically, you're applying principles of persuasion and psychology because you're calling somebody to confirm that they're going to show up. You're asking them to reiterate what they're going to do. And because it's somewhat of a human, it's an AI agent. If the person said they're already going to show up and they don't show up, some people have what it's called cognitive dissonance whenever that happens. And it reduces their chance to not show up for the call. It's just simply because they've already confirmed that they're going to show up. And if they think about it, sometimes they don't even think about it. Just say, oh my gosh, I've already confirmed, I've already received a message from person X, Y, and Z. This other person have called me. They're very excited to have me there. I'm not going to miss this. But if they say, hey, I need to reschedule or something came up, the bot actually can cancel the appointment that was already existed and send a reschedule link or even book the call straight up in the phone. And then if the person says they want to cancel, basically what we're doing is we're canceling the appointment and then we're asking why they wanted to cancel. And we're always tracking the data. We want to track how many outbound calls happen, how many fail, how many succeeded, how many were picked up by a person, how many went to a voicemail, what is the pickup rate, how many of the people that booked the call actually picked up the phone, what is the pickup rate there from bookings to actual live calls. Out of the live calls, how many people confirmed, cancel, reschedule, things along those lines. You want to make sure you're tracking everything, and I'm going to show you exactly how we're doing it on our end, managing a $100 million operation so that you can adapt to your business and make sure that you can make the most out of it. So with that being said, let's get into it. Basically, the tech stack that we have over here is you're going to be using Twilio, calendar tool, which in this case you can use Cal.com, Go High Level, or OneSub. Automation tool, in this case you can use NAN, Zapier, or Make.com. All of them work. In this example, we're going to be covering with the calendar tool called OneSub and with the automation tool called NAN. And CRM, we're going to be using High Level. And for the AI agents, we're going to be using Synthflow. The way that Synthflow works, it's pretty straightforward. Pretty much like all other AI agents, it works by creating a prompt, training the bot, attaching or not a knowledge base, and using specific triggers and outputs to either perform the initial action from the bot, in this case making a phone call, and after the phone call it's completed, in this case collecting the data from the phone call. So here in the dashboard from Synthflow, you have the option to create assistants or teams. The way assistants work is you can either start one from scratch and just build it your own, but they have these two types, which is outbound assistants that it's going to call people out, and then the inbound assistants, which is going to receive a call. So depending on your circumstance, you're going to be deciding which one you want to pick. In this example, we're going to build a outbound assistant because we want to call to confirm appointments, reschedule them, or cancel them depending on the specific outcome of the call. So with that being said, they have some templates over here that you can use to help you get a better understanding of how to build a prompt, how to set up an assistant. And in this case here, that's how you're going to be creating your assistant. We're going to go in depth inside the assistants tab on how to do it, but I also want to cover here with you the assistants team. That basically a team is a combination of multiple assistants. So I'm going to just show you here in the test. What you're going to do is you're going to select your lead assistant, and then you're going to select your sub assistants. Basically imagine, like, let's say for example, you have an inbound calling queue for your company, and whenever someone calls there's one assistant that it's trained on general knowledge of your business, and then there's another few assistants that are maybe related to, let's say, a customer support assistant, or a payment manager assistant, or a upsell salesperson assistant, where it's just going to be booking calls. So depending on what the person says on the lead assistant, if the person calls in and just say, hey, can find my login information, you can transfer to a different, more specialized assistant that if, let's say, the person can't find the login information, it will transfer the call. This other assistant will get their name, email, phone number, and then after the call hangs up, it will look on the database to see if that person is actually a customer, and if there's an option to send, let's say, through an API, a password reset link, it can do that automatically, and you're going to be using like workflows and automations to do that. So that's just an example of assistance team. It's like an IVR where you're gonna select your your main assistant, and then your other sub assistants, and then you want to put the specific condition here on where to transfer the call. Let's say for example, when the customer says they would like to, I don't know, request a refund, for example, and then it transfers, and then the other assistant, it just collects information about the person and submits a refund request or a general support request. All right. So that's that for the teams. It's a very interesting application, especially if you want to have one inbound calling agent that routes to different specific departments of your business depending on the situation that it encounters. Now, getting into the actual agent, basically what you'll see here, you're not going to see this from start, and then I'm going to show you like how to build the confirmation agent. But what you'll see here is the main dashboard is showing you like how much you have spent already and things along those lines, the calls made, the actions took, talk time, etc. And here's where you're going to start configuring your assistant. In the configurations tab, you can name your assistant, you can upload a photo if you want. Here you can select a voice. Basically, whenever you want to select a voice, you can bring your 11 Labs API key, so that maybe you want to use your own clone voice or a specific voice that was built to your brand that is in 11 Labs. You can do that by just bringing in your API key from 11 Labs, and then you'll be able to select the voice that you have there inside this specific assistant. I normally use Jennifer as my assistant because I think it's a little bit more like natural, and I like the way, you know, for confirming appointments, she has the right tonality, she has the right, let's say, mood. So I always use Jennifer. You can play with this and you can test here to see like which one best suits your needs. But you also want to select your AI model. This is basically the LLM that you're going to be using to perform specific actions. They have their own trained LLM, which is not bad. It works pretty nicely. They have GPT Turbo 3.5, GPT 4o, and Llama 3. Basically, one thing to keep in mind, like this, everything except the GPT 3.5 can actually do real-time bookings. GPT 3.5 can't do it, but I wouldn't really use GPT 3.5 at all. It's just not good. And because you're already paying for the platform and you have access to the multiple options that you're showing here, without necessarily putting your OpenAI key, I would just much better decide like between the Synthflow LLM and then the GPT 4o, which is relatively new. So you want to make sure you're testing this before pushing into production. But I typically use the Synthflow LLM, and then here the patient level, it's where you're going to adjust how long the bot is going to wait before getting back to the person or replying to the person. I typically like to put as low as possible because sometimes it takes more than 1 second, even on the lowest possible adjustment, just simply because, the platform, it's collecting the transcript, it's analyzing the transcript, it's creating an answer, it's writing the answer, and then transforming the written word into a voice, and then sending back to the phone like Twilio. So sometimes it takes more than a second to happen. So I always put it as low as possible, especially for outbound calls. Maybe if you want to do an inbound, you can put it a little bit longer so that it can analyze the knowledge base. It can provide you more accurate information. But for the purposes of confirming appointments, I just try to put as low as possible. Here you can select your language. Currently, it only works in USA, UK, Australia, and Canada types of English. And here you can put your custom greeting. Basically, this is what the agent it's going to say as soon as the call is picked up. In this example here, because we're confirming appointments, we want to make sure that we are saying something like, hey, and then lead name. This is Jennifer with Nutrition Solutions. Confirm your appointment with closer name at simple date. I'm going to show you how to build all these custom fields and why I have them, because they're going to be extremely important to the success of building a very, very strong agent. And then here it's custom vocabulary. Let's say if you have a specific thing that your brand promotes, you want to add it in here, like product names, etc., like a community name or something like that, so that the bot understands in that given exchange. If, let's say, it transcribes the word inaccurately, but it sounds like it is something that is from your custom vocabulary, it will basically pick that up. And then you want to enable recordings so that you can analyze the calls, and you can always send a feedback if you think the call wasn't good, if it wasn't bad. So basically this is what you want to do. And then enabling recordings also allows you to just monitor the quality and success of your agents. Now let's get to the prompt. Here you have your actions and your knowledge base. Basically, I was going to cover actions first. Here are just simply things that your bot can do, right? It can either send an SMS, it can either book a call directly on the phone with the prospect, it can either transfer the call either through a number that it's somebody that it's a human that's going to pick up, things along those lines, or maybe a sales rep for a warm transfer. And here you can extract specific information from the call. So let's say, for example, in the example of confirming appointments, we want to capture information that the customer either confirmed they're going to show up for their appointment, they had to reschedule, or they want to cancel their appointment, because that's what's going to allow the output to be generated in such a way where we can then here confirm the appointment from the rep's cell phone. We can reschedule the appointment, or we can cancel the appointment. And then here you can write your prompt. But first, just want to quickly talk about knowledge bases. Here you can just simply, it's a functionality from here where you can add your information either through a PDF or text or a URL. And this is what's going to help the assistant answer the right questions about your business products or services. For example, if it's a support, let's say it's a restaurant agent, in the knowledge base you can add if you have like items with or without gluten, lactose, if you have healthy options, what is the best plate, what is your opening hours, if there's any holidays that you typically close, all of those information that a customer could have asked on the phone. If you do like catering or parties, and if there's a delivery thing that you can, if they do like deliveries or pickups, all of this information you can add in your knowledge base. And then when you go to your assistant over here, on the prompt, you can select that knowledge base so that the bot can refer to that information. But obviously, if you have a lot of information in your knowledge base, it will take a little bit longer to reply to the person. For the purposes of confirming an appointment, I don't typically use knowledge base because I want the exchange to be as quickly as possible, less than a minute. Because also people are busy and they've already booked the call and they just want to say like, hey, I'm gonna show up. So with that being said, like if, for example, confirming appointments, here you can just do something like appointment confirmation. Has the customer confirmed that they will show up for the appointment, or they want to reschedule, or they want to cancel? Confirm, show up. Wants to reschedule, wants to cancel. So basically we have this information there. Because I'm going to be showing you how we're using with OneSub, on the real-time booking we can't really use our high level or call.com, but if we were using any of these tools, you could add your API key and event type from call.com and instruct the bot to, let's say, instead of sending an SMS link with the booking link by the end of it, you could actually schedule the call in the phone, in the exchange with the prospect. And then after the call hangs up, if it's a reschedule, then you could cancel the call that has the appointment ID that you sent to initiate the call in the first place. So it is interesting, it's good, but for the purpose of this video, I can't really do it because I'm going to show you the workflow that we're using, and we're using OneSub to schedule appointments. So let's get to the prompt. Basically, what you'll see in most videos is people that are not putting markdown on the prompt, which I'm highly against it, because you want to think about like the prompt, it's not meant for you to understand, it's meant for the LLM to understand. The LLM, if the information is in markdown, you can highlight what each thing means and make sure you create a structured cadence for the bot to better understand what are the goals that you're trying to give it to it, and then what are the rules that you want to give it to it. So I always like to add some background information about the business, the value proposition, and things along those lines. Some identifier information for the agent, their name, their role, their objective. Some objection handling. So if they have any specific objection handling, anything that they want to, talk about, or specific requests, what to do. And then here is like some script instructions, which imagine like you're building this workflow over here for the script instructions, and then you put it in and markdown format so the bot understands, okay, this happens, then I do this. This happens, then I do that. So you have to teach the bot what to do. And then another thing that I always like to do is put a additional information here so that it understands some of the API reference, and make sure that it doesn't necessarily cuts off the call if they run out of tokens or things along those lines. So that's pretty much it for the prompt. My main takeaway is make sure that you put it in Markdown, and then if you want to add in specific custom field, you can just put like this bracket over here, and then once you finalize it and you save your action, it's going to show here on the side. And then I will show you how to actually use this custom fields over here. And you'll notice that sometimes it just kind of goes away. So you just want to make sure that you always have all the custom fields available over here. So now that we've covered how to configure, how to prompt, it's something that you want to make sure you have. It's the deployment part and the phone number. So here you can select the phone number. If you have a Twilio account, you can just come here in integrations and put your Twilio account. Synthflow also has phone numbers available that you can purchase. In this case, I'm purchasing phones from Synthflow. So if I go here in the demo agents again and deployment, I have selected my phone number, and then you'll see this option here for webhook and max daily budget. Webhook are basically in this option here, send webhook after the call is completed. Where do you want to send the information from the call? This is what you're going to be putting in here. In this case, what I'm putting is a webhook from NAN, where it's going to send the information from Synthflow to NAN and execute on the workflow over here, depending on the variables that were put in. All right, so you just have to put the webhook here, initialize, and then whenever the call is completed, it's going to send the data to that webhook. If you're using Zapier, you don't necessarily have to do any webhook. You can just use a trigger that it's like when the call is finished by Synthflow, and then an action to perform a call. And then if you're using Make, you can also use webhooks just to create the two workflows that I'm going to share here with you. And then here you can see all of your calls. You can see the outbound and test calls. You can filter by create date. You can filter by statuses. All right, so with that being said, let's walk you through how to build this workflow to actually create a good confirmation campaign, because for the most campaigns that I saw, even the way the person was configuring the agent to talk the dates, it was just absolutely terrible. We want to make sure this is as natural as possible for the human to understand. And how we're going to do this is with this workflow over here. Basically what this workflow does is whenever there is a call scheduled in our go high level, it is sending the call information here. And currently we're only dialing US phone numbers, so we're going to check if the phone number starts with +1. And then we're going to use an HTTP request to collect from OneSub. So we're using OneSub's API. To collect the information here. And make sure that we're cleaning any sort of like accent or special characters from the closer name. We're waiting. We're formatting the dates over here to get to 8 hours. And then another thing that we're also doing is making sure that the start time and end time, typically from OneSub in specific, it's given in UTC. So we just want to make sure we are converting the start time to the customer's time zone, so that whenever the bot it's confirming the appointment, it's actually going to talk at the date and the time that the customer knows their appointment are at, instead of being at UTC time zone. And then we're going to wait a few minutes. In this case, we're waiting 5 minutes to confirm the appointments. And we're going to use OpenAI to write this prompt over here, that it's the goal, it's to transform the date that we're going to be confirming into natural language. What I mean by that, it's, let's say for example, you have an appointment that is tomorrow at 9 a.m. You want to be as close as possible to whenever the bot is calling somebody to actually say, hey Antonio, you've got an appointment tomorrow at 9 a.m. Instead of being like, today's May 16th, instead of being, hey Antonio, you have an appointment at May 19th, 9:00 a.m. You know, that's, I'd much rather not have it than actually do it this way, because it's just, people know it's a robot and it's a turn off, and people are not going to like it. Trust me. So you want to make sure this, you have this prompt to actually transform by comparing like today's date and the date of the appointment at the customer's time zone into a natural language way of saying the appointment. And then we're going to be using the API request here from Synthflow to send all the information that we need about the person. We're going to be sending the custom field information over here, the lead name, closer name, booking ID, contact email, and simple date, all in here. So the bot has this information. Whenever it's calling the person, it will already have this information here, and it is going to use this data to confirm the appointment. So just an example here of a execution. Basically, it received a request, it got the booking information, it cleaned the special characters, and then it generated like the time zone here. And then look what it's gonna do. It's gonna write it out in a way where is when the bot read this, it's going to read exactly as it is showing over here instead of coming up with a way of saying it. So it's very important to use this. And then how it's gonna send the information, it's going to send like all the data over here. Now let's test this and just understand what happens here, because after the call is finished, what you want to do is like, this is a finalized call, and then basically what we're doing is we'll receive the request from Synthflow. We're pulling the contact information from high level. We're ordering the custom fields that we've pulled, and then we're getting the booking information from OneSub. We're adding the data to Plecto for reporting purposes, and depending on the outcome over here, if it's a call confirm, a reschedule, or a cancellation, we're updating the CRM, and then also we're using OneSub to generate HTTP requests that if it's a reschedule, we're going to cancel the appointment that we've sent the booking ID in this first workflow, and we're going to be generating a one-time link to add to the CRM, and then add the lead to a campaign in high level that it's going to, depending on the field that it's been updated over here, either confirm, show up, reschedule, or cancel. It's going to send them specific SMS and emails. So if it's a reschedule, it's going to send them the reschedule link. If it's a cancel, it's a confirmation, it's just going to send them a confirmation message. And if it's a cancellation, it's just going to let them know that the appointment was canceled, and obviously add them to a cancellation recovery workflow, so that you're not just simply forgetting about these leads. You're actually following up, because it may not be the right time for them, but maybe within a week it's the right time. So that's it for the 2 workflows that we're using to build this process over here. Now let's test to show you guys how it actually works, because basically the way that the information is going to come here, it's similar to this. So this is going to be like the booking ID that we use. And then let me just grab my phone here, just make the phone call real quick. And then if we try to call this number, and you pick up here, I pick up here on my phone, let's see how it's going to show up. So I'm receiving the call.
Hey Tony, this is Jennifer with Nutrition Solutions, confirming your appointment with John tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Hey Jennifer, how's it going? Yes, I'm 100% confirmed. Thanks for reaching out.
Great to hear that, Tony. Just a quick tip. Make sure you're in a quiet room and ready to take some notes for the session. You'll be connecting via Google Meets with John. Is there anything else you need to know before your appointment?
No, I believe that's pretty much it. I hope you have a great day.
Thanks, Tony. I hope you have a fantastic day, too. Looking forward to hearing about your assessment. Bye for now.
So there you have it. Depending on the outcome that you wanted to test, you will be able to, either generate a reschedule request on the output over here. So as you can see here, if I just update this, you can see that this is like from another agent that we're actually using. I was just demoing this. But here you can see like the transcript, the actual recording, you can listen.
Hey Tony, this is Jen.
The actions. So this is what you're going to be using as a return value, right? So if I show you here, like let's say for example, this is workflow over here. You can see that there's the call recording, the choices over here, so the person confirm show up, and basically we're just using like the confirm show up over here because that's what the person did, and we're sending them to the workflow to that we've confirmed their appointments. So I know it can be a lot to begin with, but that's actually how to do it in a way that works. Everybody else, I feel like, is just mostly trying to get clicks and ride the wave, but they haven't actually implemented something as good as this. So if you do this, you're going to differentiate yourself. You're going to get more results for you and your clients and maybe your company. And if you like this video, please make sure to subscribe and give me a like so that we can grow this channel together, right? And if you have any type of content suggestions, recommendations, please make sure you share it down below in the comment section. And I look forward to seeing you here again. All right, have a good one.